So now 128 days to go for prelims 2021. So strategize your preparation. You must have the optimum utilization of your these days for your revision of all core subjects, current affairs, etc. And give a good number of mock tests also. That's very important. A good number of good mock tests, UPSC standard mock tests. Okay. Now here, yeah, this is modern history we discussed. Now this is a revision round discussion. Definitely, we are solving as many as possible questions, as many as possible. And sometimes you can see in a very prelims examination, after 35 to 40 questions, yeah, some questions would be 40 to 50 questions would be strange questions, difficult questions, or alien questions where you have to apply your presence of mind, you have to apply your logical guess. Okay, and you know the different methods of elimination, different elimination strategies are there. In fact, we also discussed the different elimination strategies in history, economy, polity, geography, environmental science, current affairs, etc. Again, some common things are there. We can go for some choices with extreme statements. Extreme statements. Okay. Some choices or statements with extreme words most often being wrong. It's a common assumption. Okay, most always it is not saying 100% it should be like that. But of course, some artificial statements are there. Some complicated, compound, blah 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 statements are there. Most always they are wrong. Then the statements with the extreme keywords are there. Always, often, hardly, never. That kind of things are there. Then contradictory choices or similar choices. Different methods of elimination. In fact, we discussed in our elimination strategy. Okay. Now here we are solving some questions starting with the first one. In the revision test, we had this much questions from modern India, and first one is with reference to colonial railway scheme in India, consider the following statements. So the British railway scheme in India, obviously regarded as that was introduced in the 19th century AD, and that was regarded as a colonial scam. It was a colonial scam. What were the basic objectives of this British railway policy? Of course, that was for collecting this raw material for cheaper prices. Am I right? Raw material, you know, this is to procure raw material even from the remotest areas of India, and this is for selling the British products, British finished goods, even in these remotest villages also. So railway provide easier access to Indian markets, Indian villages, etc. Then again, this is for mobilization of the troops. This is for mobilization of the troops for suppressing these external invasions, or maybe for resisting external invasions and for internal rebellions also. For mobilization of the troops. Again, it was an investment outlet. Okay, it was an investment outlet. That is again very important. Railway project, be it like for example, leasing of the land or this railway machinery, engines, all is from this Britain only. It is from, you know, this railway like compartments or its engine, its machines, all is imported from this England only. And for leasing of the railway land, that capital investment is also from Europe only. So you imagine this was an investment outlet for Europeans. So there is obviously there will be a growth of this British capitalism, European capitalism, and interest for the capital investment is also paid from. It is also paid from Indian exchequer. Okay, so it was an investment outlet, and also let us say that this is for the administrative convenience, or you can say this is for unification of their administration or for better handling of Indian administration. So all the way, railway had many intentions, and now you are supposed to answer this question. With reference to the colonial railway scheme in India, consider the following statements. Railway would help the government to control the distant parts of India. Definitely it is for better control of Indian territories, British Indian territories, and for better administration. So first statement is correct. To guard the frontier of India against Russia and other powers. Exactly, we discussed. It is for troop mobilization, and it is for resisting these internal rebellions, and it is to resist these external invasions also. Such a sense that statement is correct. opening up a market for Indian manufacturers in the interior of this vast country. So take care that this is not for benefiting Indian manufacturers, it is for benefiting these European manufacturers. Okay, so there is no promotion of Indian manufacturers. Let us say that third statement is wrong. To move around the army to quell internal disturbances and foreign attack, similar statements. So let me tell you, all the four are correct statements only. All the four are correct. Sorry, first, second statement and fourth statements are correct only. Third statement is wrong statement. That means your answer has to be C. Your answer has to be C. Now, consider the following statement. Socio-religious movements was an integral part of the evolving of national consciousness. It was part of the acceptance of colonial cultural ideological hegemony. Ideological cultural hegemony. You should understand, any Renaissance movement in the world, be it Indian or this European Renaissance, any Renaissance movement that promoted the idea of liberalism, democracy, rationalism, or the social equality or social equity, or this all those values are promoted by Renaissance, reasoning, etc. And all Renaissance movements were against cultural, political, or ideological hegemony. Okay, so here you see that this movement, Indian Renaissance also, socio-religious, intellectual, reformist movements were also against the colonial, cultural, ideological hegemony. Okay, it is not acceptance of this cultural or this ideological British hegemony. Okay, it was against such a cultural, ideological hegemony or the supremacy. Okay, so here you see that the first statement is the correct one, because socio-religious movements an integral part of evolving national consciousness, because the socio-religious reform movements, be it Brahma Samaj or it is Arya Samaj or it is Pratana Samaj or it is what is called you take a Theosophical Society movement or Ramakrishna Mission movement, so many movements were there. Actually, all these Young Bengal movement, all these movements they promoted or they were fighting against some social injustices. Yeah, for example, against caste system, against untouchability. They promoted this women emancipation. They promoted this socio-cultural, economic mobility of all social classes. So all the way, it promoted the idea of social equality, women emancipation, upliftment of the poor, upliftment of the downtrodden. All the way, it promoted the idea of, yes, uniqueness or universality of these Indians, or maybe their culture, their religion. They promoted the rational aspects of India's culture, India's religion or civilization, etc. Okay, and they inculcated that glorious past of, or maybe the pride in the culture and civilization of Indians. So all the way it promoted national consciousness. That is a true statement. Your answer has to be one only. Now go for the third one. With reference to the permanent settlement, which of the following statements are correct? Okay, permanent settlement. Now this is again very important for you. I would say land revenue system of the British in India. Land revenue system of British in India, or their economic policies, revenue policies. Okay, their colonial administration. That concept is very important for you. Take care. Land revenue settlements, permanent settlement, Mahalwadi and Ryotwadi settlement. You should know the founders or the people associated with such land revenue policies and basic objectives of such land revenue policies, and their impact on different social classes of India, and of course how it impacted Indian peasantry. Okay, all these things you have to go through. Now this permanent settlement, we know that government periodically revised land revenue at own will. There is no annual revision of this land revenue in permanent settlement. Permanent settlement means that is settled for, that is a settlement made for at least 50 or 60 years. No periodical or no annual revision of this land revenue payment. Okay, so that statement itself is wrong. Now that statement is wrong means you just check this answer choice or answer code given here. You can eliminate A, you can eliminate C, you can eliminate D. Your answer is 2 and 3 only. Zamindars were deprived of their judicial and police powers, their traditional powers. They were deprived of their traditional powers. They are owners of the land, collectors of the revenue, and they were deprived of their traditional powers. New class of landlords became strong political allies of British, obviously. Ownership rights were vested with the peasants, wrong. Ownership rights were vested with the zamindars under permanent settlement system. Now moving on to the fourth question, which one of the following best describes the aim of the Lord Dalhousie's policy called a doctrine of lapse? So you must have an idea about various policies here. For example, doctrine of lapse is there, subsidiary alliance is there, policy of ring fence is there, then there's like a subordinate union is there, subordinate isolation is there. So there are different concepts you have to study well. Okay, these are important for you because UPSC asked so many questions related to such a such a major treaties or major terms of this modern India. Okay. Now, doctrine of lapse, we know that it is devised by Dalhousie. It was basically for territorial expansion of this British Empire in India. And it is, you see, that what is the basic motto or basic, what is that called, the crux of that doctrine of lapse? If any Indian ruler, okay, like for example, not having a natural heir means they will be adopting a son. Usually adopted son is becoming the next ruler. But here Dalhousie says that if that adoption is not duly recognized by this British government, then that adopted son cannot be the next ruler. His land, his state will be automatically lapsed, added to British Empire. That was doctrine of lapse. So here the basic aim of this doctrine of lapse was extend the territorial boundaries of the English East India Company. D has to be your answer. Okay. D is the answer. Best aim of this doctrine of lapse. With reference to the contributions of Savitri by Phule, consider the following statements. When you study this modern India, take care. Great personalities are there. So many reformers are there. Great leaders are there. Great thinkers and ideological contributors are there. And of course, freedom fighters are there. So there is centenary celebrations, anniversary celebrations, etc. Whenever they are in the news, that personality is important for you in prelims examination also. Take care of their contributions, their historical cultural role, or the controversies they were associated with. Such things you have to go through. I mean, from historical perspective. Now here Savitri Bai Phule, she was the beloved wife of Jyotiba Phule. Jyotiba Phule was the founder of that Satya Shodak Samaj. Okay. Now here, she was a pioneer in modern Marathi poetry. Obviously, she was regarded as the first modern Indian feminist, and she was instrumental for starting girls' education or starting schools for girls' education. She started Mahala Seva Mandal in 1858 for women reforms. Okay, that is women education, women reforms. That is true. And also she was the person who started that Bal Hatya Pratibandha Griha. Bal Hatya Pratibandha Griha is basically for sheltering pregnant rape victims. Okay. She was selected as the first women member of INC. No chance. Because Jyotiba Phule himself was critical about this INC, its functioning, its composition, etc. Because Jyotiba Phule criticized, contempt, opposed INC, because he says INC is an organization of elite Hindu people. It has no adequate representation of these vulnerable sections or depressed sections, etc. Okay, so he was against that INC. Now she campaigned against untouchability. Fourth statement is also logically correct statement. You can eliminate the third statement and your answer has to be, here also you can apply the elimination, because answer choice, if you check A, C, D, all have 3. You know that third statement is wrong. And the only choice without 3 is Bombay, 1, 2 and 4. So 1, 2 and 4 is your answer.